Welcome to Mission 2 MadLibs. Let's open up Godot by double-clicking on the Godot app. I don't have any projects saved on my computer, so I'm going to press cancel. And let's create a new project. Before we create the name of the new project, let's browse where you want to save the project. So click on the browse button. And there are two places where I want you to save your project. One can be the documents folder, and the other one could be your desktop. I prefer the desktop. So let me find the word desktop here. And I'm going to select that folder. The next step is to name your folder and to name your project. And your project is named MadLibs. So let's type MadLibs in the project name area. And create the folder on your desktop. And as a result, we see the folder on our desktop. The renderer by default should be OpenGLES 3.0, and we can now create and edit by clicking on the Create and Edit button. Now that Godot is open, let's create a 2D scene by creating a 2D scene node. And let's rename the node by double-clicking on the node and renaming it to MadLibs scene. In this next part, we are going to be printing some data to the console, to the output console. The output console is on the bottom center part of your screen, and if you click on output, your output console will appear. And this is where we'll get to see certain actions that you'll be taking on Godot, and this will also be a place where you'll see data being outputted to. So let's get to it. The first step is to make sure that we create a script. So let's click on MadLibs scene, and let's click on this script button or attach a new script to the selected node. The attached node script will appear, and we are going to keep everything to its default. Press create. And what appears is a template script. Let's go over what these mean. Extends 2D node, like in mission number 1, represents a library of codes and functions that the node 2D or the MadLibs scene can access. So never delete that. And we have a whole bunch of text here with hashtags on them. Anytime you see a hashtag, that is what we call a comment. And that does not get operated or calculated in a program. It's just there so that we know what the following code means. In this script, we'll be using some comments, and it's good etiquette to do so that when you come back to the script, you know what that code means. For now, let me delete all of these comments here. Let's keep everything as simple as possible. So that is just func ready or function ready, and it says pass, replace with function body. Alright, so I'm going to place a comments here so that I know what type of program I want to build. So I'm going to type in hashtag. In this function, I will be printing out some words, hashtag, to the output console. Okay. I am going to be making some space on the top here because I'll be needing extra lines right there later on. But for now, let's focus on function ready. Now what we see here is this arrow with a line, and this represents a tab line. And so anytime you code something, tabbing things or indenting things will make your codes a bit organized. And sometimes it will automatically, Godot will automatically do that, especially if there is a colon, like this. And so, by pressing enter on your keyboard, it will automatically tab your subsequent codes. All right, we're going to be typing in our first code, and we are going to be using the print function. So realize when something turns red, it is part of the node 2D library. A print function will have the word print and the parentheses, and whatever's in the parentheses is the string or integer that will be outputted to the console. For instance, if I want to place a string in there and I want to place my name, okay, and I press play scene, or I can press F6 on my keyboard, make sure we save the scene. And let's save the scene by naming it. And so we'll keep the name as default right here for now. MadLibs scene. Press save. Right now there's nothing on this window, but when we close the window and when we look at the output console, my name appears on the output console because that's what I told the program to do. I could place another string. This is my program, and play that scene again, and that should change the output console so it says this is my program. And so this is what I want you to type in to the output console as practice. Hello world. My name is, and then put your name. We are printing a string, or our string, to the output console. Let's see what that does when we decide to play the scene. Press F6 or play scene, and we see the exact same strings that we typed into each of these prints functions. Okay, so you know how to output now to the output console. Okay, all right, now here's the problem, that if we don't have a string and we decide to put hello without the quotation marks, it's going to give us an error. The identifier hello isn't declared in the current scope. So it's trying to find the word hello, and it's trying to find the word hello as a variable, which we have not established yet. And if we decide to play the scene, it's going to give us that error. Again, the identifier hello isn't declared in the current scope. What does that mean? Okay, so let me delete hello. Let's keep that print empty. And what we're going to be doing is we are going to be establishing some variables. So recall in the beginning of this mission, variables is a way to store data into the memory of the computer. In Godot, and using GDScript, which is what Godot uses as a scripting language, the way that you store data into Godot is by typing the word var, okay, and creating the name of the variable. In this case, I'm going to put my name, okay. I'm also going to put a couple more variables here because these are variables that we are going to enter, such as the age, such as city, and such as school. Okay? Now we want to associate values to these variables. And the way that you do that is by pressing the symbol equal. And like what that video on this mission says in the beginning of this mission, that equal does not mean that it equates to something. It means that whatever value, such as my name, whatever value or data is stated after the equal sign is being received to the variable my name. So associate my name as a box and replacing the name of Ringo inside of that box. So this is a way to store that name in that box, my name. I'm gonna do the same thing to my age, to the city. Oh, let me just do San Francisco because we're talking about schools. And a school. Herbert Hoover Middle School. And recall anything with a parentheses, not parentheses, but quotation marks. And put some comments here that this here is a string. This number 40 is not a string because there's no quotation marks around it. This is a integer because it's a whole number. And like you guessed it, this is a string, and that's a string. Okay? Some fundamentals in programming that you should know. I'm gonna place a comment on the top right here. And what we just did right now is we initialized the variables, which means we stated the name of the variables, we labeled the variable name, and we associated each of the variables with some data, which comes after the equal sign. So right now, these variables are not doing anything just yet because in this function and in these codes after it, it has not accessed this data. So we're going to be doing that right now. Like what I said in a couple minutes ago, one way to place something in the console is by making a string. Okay, let me try another one, or hello. All right, but now we want to make sure that this particular variable and this value appears in the output console. Okay, and so it is as easy as typing in my name, which is the name of the variable. So if I press play scene, okay, nothing shows up there, but the word Ringo is there. So what that means is by placing the print function in here with my name, the variable my name is now accessing whatever's in the my name box and outputting a Ringo into the console. I can try that again with the age. Print age. Right here, a Ringo, and the age is 40. Age is 40. If I decide to change that variable and type in 20, let's see what happens. 20 appears. Okay, so we're able to print the values of the variables using the print function by typing in print and the variable name. Okay, now the goal is to make sure that we type in my name is with your name. I am 13 years old and I'm a student at Hoover Middle School in San Francisco. Okay, so I'm going to place that one in the comments as a way to refer back to what we're going to type in. We will type in my name is and then make sure you put your name instead. I'm gonna put my name, Ringo. I am 40 years old at the time, and I am a student at Hoover. Oops, it's getting too long. Let me put some comments here. I am a student at Hoover Middle School in San Francisco. Okay, so again, comments are there to help you so that you know what to type in. Okay, now let's access some variables. I'm gonna just do one line of code right now under the function array. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Delete this here. So we're gonna say my name. Oops, start off with the string. My name is Ringo. Or my name is, in this case, we're going to access this variable, my name. What's going to happen? Oh yeah, and period. Oops, play the scene. Oops, forgot the parentheses. So make sure that you have a close, open parentheses and a close parentheses. Play scene. And interesting, it says my name is my name. It's as if this variable is not accessing this data. So we have to do something a little different called concatenation. Okay, and what that means is we're going to be using a plus symbol to combine the variable with a string. So I'm going to press plus, and I'm going to actually let me do this. I'm going to press I'm going to close the quotation, press plus, and I am going to place the name of the variable, my name, plus quotation marks, period, quotation marks, and then close it with the parentheses. Okay, and so what I'm actually doing here is I'm chaining the string with the variable, which is not a string. I mean, it's a string up here, but you want to state the variable name so that it can access the variable up here, and the period, which is a string. Let's see what happens. Now it says my name is Ringo. Huh. If I typed in Michelle on the top, oops. And why is that not working? Because Michelle needs to be a string. Then my name is Michelle. We can change the variable on the top and it will affect whatever we print out on the bottom. All right. Let's try another one out here. Print. And my next line of code is I am 4 years old. I am space plus the variable that we were using is called age because we stated the word age on the top, plus age plus open quotations space years old period. Let's test that one out and see if that looks correct, and it looks like there's an error. Why is there an error here? So I think there's a space right there. You know why. Okay, so right here we see that age is an integer. We cannot combine strings and an integer, so we have to somehow convert this age to an integer. Okay, and the way that you do that, there's two ways. You can put quotation marks to create this, to make this a string, and that's one way of doing it. 20 years old. But now if you want to add numbers, then you can't add numbers anymore. Another way of doing that is placing a function called str, which represents string, and it converts this integer into a string. And if I play the scene again, it says I am 20 years old. Let's do the last line. Print I am a student at space plus, and the school variable is school plus make that a string in plus and the name of the city. And I'm going to use the city variable and end it with a period. Plus period. Let's play the scene and let's see what happens. And there you go. My name is Michelle. It's not Michelle. Just made up a name. I am 20 years old. I am a student at Herbert Hoover Middle School in San Francisco. These variables, at the end of the day, has access to the data that we've established at the top of your script. In the next part of creating the MadLibs program, we have to make sure that we are outputting all of these strings that we've printed to the output console into a text field, or what we will call a text label. So the first step is we're going to add a child node. So I'm going to click on the MadLibs scene node, press the plus button, and find a node called label. There are two types of labels. One that's a rich text label, and the other one that's just a regular label. Pick the regular label, and what we see, if we zoom up close, is a box with about 8 other dots right here, what we call handles. And what we can do with those handles is we can enlarge it to a height and width that we want. And we'll place this display label, or this label right here. We will rename this label display label, and in the text field we are going to type in, this is where we will type in the string as a default text. All right, and make sure we enable auto wrap, which means that if the string of text goes beyond this text box, it will create a new line of text. All right, so that's what auto wrap does. All right, we are all set up. Now let's make sure that we have our script associated with the MadLibs scene, which we have done. I'm going to open that one up, and so we are going to continue with we're going to make some changes to the script, okay, so that we are accessing the display label and we are outputting all of these strings to the display label. So what we're going to do is we are going to create a couple lines right there, and we don't want these prints to these print functions to print up anything into the console anymore. So I'm going to place comments or hashtags to make them comments. On line 11 right here, I am going to be accessing the display label, and this is how you access the display label. You are going to press the $, and right away when you press the $, you will have accessed one of the nodes called display label. Okay, and I can select that. Let me try that one more time. Display label right there. Select that, and it automatically enters that one in after the $. Okay, so right away we are accessing the display label. But what part of the display label are we accessing? If we click on the display label in the nodes area, or the scene tree right here, we want to be changing this text into something that we have inputted into the, or outputted to the display console or the output console. And to do that, we need to use a property called text. All right, and so we have an underlined word called text. Anytime you see the word underlined under properties, it is something that we can change or access. Okay, but we're going to be using text as something that we're going to modify. Let's go back to our script. So we're going to access this text, we're going to say dot text, and it's going to get a certain piece of data. Okay, and so for now, just for practice, I am going to place this piece of data in there, or this string in there. My name is Ringo. Okay, we already know that there's another text in the display text because we typed in, this is where we will type in the string. But what happens if we programmed our script so that now the display label text is going to receive this string? Let's test it out. Let's play the scene and let's see how it's changed. It's changed to my name is Ringo. So what has happened is we have saved some data to the memory right here, and we told it to display this string into the display label node. It's very powerful. All right, so you're thinking now, how am I going to get all of this right here? So we're going to do this one by one. I'm going to copy my name is right here, this whole string, or this whole concatenized string, copy, Control C, and I'm going to paste it right there. Let's see what happens. My name is Ringo. Great. Let's see if I change the name. Let's say my name is Katie. My name is Katie. So we already know the variables working in the display label. Let's continue on and let's add in the next line. Okay, so the trick here is we want to place we want to continue this line of text within the quotation marks right there. Let's see what happens. And let's see, I think this is going to return an error because there is an extra quotation mark right there. Let's try that one out and see if that disappears. Good. Let's play the scene. My name is Katie and I am 40 years old. All right, now here's the problem. This line of string is going to get really long. Okay, and so to manage the length of the string, we are going to be using a reverse slash. Okay, so you're going to find a reverse slash, and I think I'm going to place it right after the plus. It's been a while since I used this. So if I place it right after that and press enter, you won't see an error, and it will still play out the script. Okay. Again, after the plus, so that this whole script is manageable to if we want to continue another line of code. All right, so let's look at the last line right here. Let's copy that, copy, and let's paste it after years old, right before the quotation ends. And I'm going to do the same thing just to make it a little easier. And I have another quotation mark right there. I am going to press the backward slash, oops, right there, and press enter. so that I see all the text in one area. Alright, it's easier to manage and it's easier to see. Let's test it out. And it's all there. There's something else I want to do as well. I want to add a new line after every single period. And so within, let's see, within the parentheses, or within the quotation, sorry about that, after the period, we are going to place a symbol, a character, and this will create a new line. So that character is going to be \n. Let's see what that does. So realize my name is Katie. New line. I am 40 years old. Let's see if that works. And there's that new line right there. And this is what that auto wrap does. The auto wrap wraps the text to the next line. Let's try creating a new line after the period right here. So close the script, unclose the window. Let's find that period, that next period, and /n, and let's play the scene. And now we have 3 lines now, and so that's how you can modify your text right there. And so what we just did was we outputted this line of text, this line of strings, into the display label. We've also modified the code so that we can continue on some a really long line of code by using the reverse slash, and we can do line breaks using the reverse slash and n symbol. Now this is not a MadLibs game just yet, because in the MadLibs game you want the user to interact with the game. You want the user to enter the name, the age, the city, or the school, or whatever you want them to enter in. Right now, as a programmer, you have power to enter in that data for them. Now in this next part of this tutorial, you are going to be creating extra fields, and these fields are areas where the user can enter in some data, so that your program can store the data into these variables and then output them to the display label. So we're going to take this one step by step right here. The first step is we are going to create another node. It's going to be a child node to the MadLibs scene. So click on the MadLibs scene, and we are going to press plus and find a node called line edit. Select line edit and press create. And I'm going to call this name entry. Okay. Now what we see here is we see this dark grayish field here, which we can enlarge just like the display label. And in the text field area, we're going to type in some instructions so we know what the user is going to be doing. We're going to call this, we're going to ask the user to enter in their name. Enter in, not their name, but enter in your name. Alright, we're going to keep it there, right? Just to keep it simple. Okay, and so what we're going to have the user do is enter in their name, so that when the display label shows up, their name will appear here. Okay, so but in order to do that, we need something to get to store that data. We need something to output that data. It will not do automatically. Okay, so we will be using something called a button, and we're gonna go to the node, the root node, the MadLibs scene node. Right click and let's make another child node, and let's call this button. Let's find the button node. There's many different types of buttons right now, but just click a general button. And we will call this the MadLibs button. MadLibs button. Okay, like what I said, the MadLibs button is going to do two things: store some data that you enter into this field, and then output the data into the text field. So we're going to modify the script a little bit. In addition, it just created a button on the top. So if you zoom in, it looks just like a name entry or a line edit field, but it's not. It's a button, slightly different color, and we will name this the MadLibs button right there. So it will type itself right there. All right, so this is something that you will press so that it appears in the text field. All right, now let's look at the MadLibs button. In order for the MadLibs button to work, it must send a signal to the MadLibs scene script. So to do that, we are going to click on node, and we're going to click on it so that the event that we'll be using is called press. So when we press on the button, on MadLibs button press, we will connect this signal to the MadLibs scene because that's where we're going to be programming. So let's connect. And now what we see here is a couple things. We see a kind of like a wireless signal. Basically, this MadLibs button is sending a signal to a receiver in the MadLibs scene script, and this is the receiver right there. So we have a new function called function on MadLibs press. Do not change anything and do not delete this because you'll need this function in order for the button to work. We're going to modify this code a tad bit. So right here, I'm going to delete this comments right here. And we are first going to be storing some data. So let's store the user input. So when the user inputs data, it's going to input data into my name. So my name, the my name variable, is not going to be Katie anymore, but it's going to be receiving whatever text is in the name entry field. But how do we access that data? Recall we use the $, and now we will select name entry, or you can type it up, name entry. Okay, but now what property of the name entry are we going to be using so that we attain the writing that we, or the information that we inputted? So let's go to name entry, let's go to inspector, and there's an area called text. And very similar to the display label, we're gonna, this is gonna be what it's gonna be storing into the memories, whatever text is in there. All right, so let's go back to the script. Oops, I don't want a new script. Let's go back to the script right here. .text. Okay, so it's storing the name that you placed, and now we're going to be outputting the variable to the display label. Okay, so the good thing about script is we can move things around. So I'm going to copy this whole thing because we did a lot of work here, and we're going to copy that or cut that and place that one down here. And paste that one right there. Okay, because this is what we're going to be doing. We store it, then we output it. Okay, so for now, I am just going to make a new line right there. I'm going to place that back later on, but I'm going to make that a comment for now. Oops. Let's close that right here. There you go. And let us make this a comment so that it's not being affected anymore for now. We'll put that back later. Because we just want to see if my name will work. Okay, so let's see what happens. I am going to press placing. There is an error. Why is an error? The error is because there's nothing in here anymore. So I am going to delete this whole thing because we're not using this anymore. Okay, this program will only work if we press the button, not when it starts off. There we go. Okay, I'm going to enter my name, Aringo, and when I press the MadLibs button, my name is Aringo. Katie, MadLibs button, Katie. Oh, it's changing it now when you press it. Carmen, my name is Carmen. So we know the button is working. Now let's add the other variables. Let's see what we need. We're going to be using these variables, and we're going to be adding more entry fields as well. Okay, so the quickest way to do this is to right click on the line edits, or actually let's just do it from the start right here. Creating a child node, finding line edit, and I think this next line is going to be age entry. Let's create a couple more, and I'll be moving these around here. So enter your age. And I'm just shortcutting this now. I'm gonna right click on this and it'll say duplicate. I can duplicate nodes. It will duplicate the location as well as the name. All right, so I'm gonna move this down a bit, and it keeps the size the same, so it lessens my my process. Enter city entry, and I think we have one more. Let me check the script. City and school. Right click and duplicate. Move this down. Let me change the text for the city. Enter your city and enter your school. And so this is school entry. Great. All right, now let's add these to the on button press part of the program. Let's go back to our script. Let's go to the area where you store the user inputs. We're going to add the next variable, age. Age will equal $. We're going to access the age entry line edit field and the text. Same thing with the city. Entry dot text, and the same thing with the school. School entry right there, dot text. Okay, so we're going to store the user input from the line edits. Now the great thing is we won't need all these starting points anymore, because here we are just declaring the variables, making sure the program knows that these variables do exist first before we use it. So we don't need all this anymore. Let's clean that all up. All right, so we got that first part. The second part is let's add in the rest of the script right here. So let's do that. Let me just modify it a tad bit. You have a new line right there. Good. And everything should be the same, I think. Hopefully. It looks like there's an error somewhere. Let's see where the error is at. This is line 18 space 52. So open, see, open, close, open, close. Ah, there you go, right there. Open, close. Alright, I might need to do this part over. Oh, that's why. Here and there. Those are all comments, that's why. Okay, yeah, just delete all the hashtags and make sure that you got the correct area where you place all the line breaks and where you press the line breaks to go to the next line when you code it. Alright, so again, double check your work until you don't receive any errors anymore. This part probably takes about a little time. Now let's test this program out. Play the scene. Alright, I'm gonna enter my name, Ringo, my age, 40, the city that I go to school in, San Francisco, and enter the name of my school, Hoover Middle School. Press the MadLibs button. Let's see if it works, and voila! My name is Ringo. I am 40 years old. I am a student at Hoover Middle School in San Francisco. Let's change some names and make sure it works. Call it Ben. Age is 20. I'm gonna call this Daly City. And I'm gonna call this Ben Franklin Intermediate. Press the MadLibs button and it also changes as well. Okay, and so we just created a mini MadLibs game right here. Now the next step is create your own variables, create your own text fields, create your own story, and create your own MadLibs story, so that when you press the MadLibs button, whatever your users have inputted will be inputted into your story, and it will be a weird sounding story.